Hi everybody, this is Alex Fidikov. Do you know how to test lenses in the most optimal, practical way without spending too much time? How to find out if the lens you got is a good copy and in a par with specifications? When I buy a lens or something else, I'd like to know how much value I'm getting in exchange for my money, just like everybody else. And even more so when I buy something pretty expensive. In this video, I will try to find that optimal way for testing lenses with Sony a7R III camera and with any camera in general. A little while ago, I bought a7R III camera with Canon EF mount lenses, and if you want to know why I bought Canon EF mount lenses for Sony camera and what lenses did I buy, I have posted video about that package and the link is below in descriptions. So this video is the first one of upcoming videos about these tests. I'm just learning and experimenting with all this stuff myself, and for those who already have knowledge in photo and video equipment, I think this video may not be for you. It may look naive and boring, but I hope these videos would be helpful to gain some knowledge for folks who is just learning as I am. I have watched lots of videos of all sorts of lens tests, and many of them are very good and informative, but I could not get a clear idea how to test lenses in most convenient and practical way. There is so many aspects of lens testing, but the results and opinions sometimes inconsistent and even contradictory. Well, on a positive note, I can definitely say that my vocabulary got significantly bigger. Take a look at this list of words I have written. Quite a bit, isn't it? I feel like my head sometimes is spinning. So I'm thinking how to approach these tests to get more accurate results and technical knowledge and have fun too. Fun is important. I have started with lens tests for characteristics like resolution, contrast, image distortion, color fringing, and in the second round I'm thinking to do tests for color rendering, autofocus speed, eye autofocus tracking, face autofocus tracking, vignetting, bokeh. I did the first test with lens test charts because test charts designed for that very task, and it is much easier to see lens performance with a test chart compared to just taking picture of some buildings, geometrical objects. At least it's easier for me. And here's my first challenge. There is so many different charts with different graphics and sizes, and however I could not find the recommendation of optimal size of test charts. So to make my life easier in the future, I have to find out myself by experiment what chart size would be most efficient and optimal for doing my tests. I have found on the web a lot of charts and printed out one with resolution of 800 ppi, and print came out like 15.75 inch by 9.75 inch. And in addition to that, I have made my own chart Simple one but huge one. 72 inches by 48 inches for 3:2 ratio test. I know someone may say it is crazy overkill, and maybe it is, but I needed to know if different sizes of test charts will give me different results for lens resolution, and since I could not find anywhere answers to that question, I had to experiment myself. So I did it, and here are my observations. First test, I started with Sony 24-70 f2.8 G Master lens at 24mm and the big chart. Everything worked good. The chart fully filled the frame and the picture was sharp at the center and all the corners. Then I've used small printed out chart but could not get it in focus because the distance needed to fill the frame was smaller than minimum focus distance of this lens, so it did not work out. Then I've repeated test the same way with Tamron 150 to 600mm G2 lens at the 150mm, and everything worked fine with the big chart. All the corners and center were in focus and sharp. But the result with the small chart was the same as with Sony lens for the very same reason. The minimum focus distance of Tamron lens is greater than distance needed to fill the frame with small chart. The third test with Canon 70 to 200mm lens at 70mm gave me the same result with the small chart as two previous ones. For the same reason, and I got picture in focus only when I stepped back to minimum focus distance of this lens. So it looked like the small chart is too small to fill the frame at the lens's minimum focus distance and be in focus. But then I got different result when I've put my prime Sigma 35mm art lens to test. This lens filled up the frame with the small chart at a larger distance than its minimum focus distance, and picture was in focus and sharp. So I thought maybe it has something to do with this lens being prime lens versus zoom lens. Then I made another prime lens test with Rokinon 85mm T1.5 lens, and the results came out similar to results with zoom lenses. The minimum focus distance of Rokinon lens is greater than distance needed to fill the frame with small chart. Okay, my tests are done, and I found pretty good results, and by good I mean in a very definite result. And it shows me that lens test chart does not have to be huge, but it needs to be bigger than the one I have printed out from the web, this one, which is 15 3/4 by 9 3/4. So, but I have to say one thing. I tried this test with APS-C camera too, and it worked just fine. This chart was good enough in size, and it's actually could be smaller, but for the full frame sensor, the chart definitely needs to be a little bigger to fill up the 3:2 ratio part of the sensor. So it could be, the lens could be fully tested in a bigger dimensions. So now I will have in my arsenal an optimal size lens test chart for future, and I can test my lenses more faster in a more convenient way, sitting in a room or somewhere and I don't have to go out and, you know, do all this stuff. That's as far as convenience, and probably the accuracy is also better with this chart than just, you know, taking pictures of buildings and stuff like that. By the way, I just want to mention, and you can, you know, just compare and pay attention. The first part of this video I have filmed with this lens, which is a Sony 24-70 GM lens 2.8, and now I'm filming with Sigma 35mm f1.4 art lens, both at the same aperture, f4, this one, and this one is now filming it at f4. So I wonder, I haven't seen it yet, so I wonder what would be different in this picture. It's probably a good occasion to make comparisons. I tried to frame the picture same way as I did with this previous lens. You can see it over there. So that's and I'd like to have your opinion. Tell me what do you see? Is there a big difference, or both lenses somewhere in par? So these tests are finished now, and I can do all other, like face tracking autofocus test, eye autofocus test, low light performance, and I will post results so you'll see how they perform in this setup. But I have more things to do. Now I have more tests to do, because my wife decided she wants to learn how to take photos and pictures and videos. So she bought a Sony a6500 camera and few lenses too. So now I have more fun to do in the nearest future. So stay tuned if you're interested to see those tests. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know what do you think about this kind of tests, and especially if you have suggestions how to do these tests in the most efficient way. And don't forget to subscribe to get notifications for new videos. Click the thumb up, and I'll see you in next videos. Bye bye now.